Hello, everybody. Some of you may know that I am on my way to becoming a CrossFit Level 3 trainer. So if you want to watch some of those videos, I will link that below. But in addition to that, I am also taking on this 52 book challenge. So what that means is I'm going to try to read 52 books over the course of this whole year. So it averages out to one book per week. I'm a little late getting onto the recording train and reviewing these books, but that's all right. I'm going to start with the first one that I read in 2020. This was The Vivid Vision by Cameron Herold. So this one was a shorter one, but still a good one. I listened to it on Audible, but I'll put the link to the book below so you guys can go buy it if you want to. This one is basically a 3-year plan for whatever you want for business or life, were the two main categories that he talked about. I'm kind of thinking of this more in the way of life, I guess. I don't necessarily have my own business per se, but it could definitely be applied to business. Most of it was about business, but I'm taking the approach of life and how I want to be seen as a coach and stuff like that. So the gist of it was try to take 4 hours of your time and just go somewhere quiet, go somewhere where you are at peace, somewhere where there's no distractions, and you can spend about 4 hours and you just get to think about what you want your life to look like in 3 years. So every vivid vision is a 3-year span. So you think of where you want to go, what you want it to look like, and then you kind of work your way backwards from there. So there might be stuff that hasn't been invented yet. He mentioned that there might be technology that hasn't happened yet. There might be new people entering your life that you haven't thought about yet. So you can kind of you have to kind of foresee that stuff happening is kind of what he's saying. So if the technology isn't there yet, but you need it to be, how are you gonna get it to happen? So that was maybe a little more along the business side of it, but it got to really quite deep thinking. And for those 4 hours, you were trying to be as specific as you can. You might need to come back to it a couple times, but basically you are being as detailed as you can about what you want the next 3 years of your life to look like. For businesses, right? What's your sales like? What's the process like? What do your customers say about you? What are your reviews like? What do your employees think about you? Are they happy? Are they ideally you'd want them to be happy, I would hope, as a business owner. But what are their benefits? What does their day look like? What does your day look like? And then from the more personal standpoint for myself, like it was how do I want to be seen as a husband? I'll be married by that point. So how do I want to be seen as a husband? Still a son, friend, and then in the coaching world, like how do I want to be seen and viewed as a coach? So then from there, you need to kind of come up with the core values and ideas that you want to display and portray and how you want to live your life, basically. And then at the end of that 3-year period, hopefully you've reached everything that you wanted to reach and achieve everything you wanted to achieve, and then you'd come up with a new one. So yeah, this book was really good in making you think a little bit further ahead than maybe you normally do. The 3 years was chosen for a reason, and he explains why in the book. But basically, he feels like 1 year is too short because it's not, you can't quite think big enough within a year, was his argument. And if you think too long, it might seem really, really unrealistic. Like if you started thinking 10 years down the road, it's not as realistic and there's more variables that could happen in the next 10 years versus the next 3. So I would highly suggest, if you are interested in learning more things about planning and setting goals and coming up with a really, really clear vision of what your future is or what you want your future to look like, whether it be business or personal, this was a really good one. It was a shorter one too, so you can get through it pretty quickly. Like I said, I'll put the link to the book below, and yeah, enjoy the read.